Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this ridiculous thing that vegans do to where they call people carnists. And I wouldn't even really mention this other than I see it in my Facebook feed all the time off my big page, my fitness page. I am just flooded 24/7 with both crazy carnivore and crazy vegan pages. For some reason, their algorithms have decided that I need to see these things. So the thing I notice with all these crazy ass vegans is where they throw around this carnist, carnist, carnist. Like they call everyone else carnist. It's like, okay, let's talk about an example of being a cult. You are part of a cult. That is a standard cult strategy to where you create your own terminology and you separate yourself from everyone else so much that you have to have like a special name for all non-believers. Right? Okay? And I'm not saying all religions do this. Religious cults do this. To where they need to not only see themselves as morally superior, they need to come up with special names that they feel are slightly derogatory for everyone who is not part of their in-group. So that again, it creates distance from them. Right? Creates distance from them. But that is how kooky they are. And they're detached from reality with it to where they don't understand. I'm sorry, but this is an intrinsic part of human history and humanity for animal products to be part of our diet. Just like plants, just like the carnivores. Oh, no plant for us. It's like you're insane. You're batshit insane. That is what you are, carnivores. There is no other way to describe their movement. But let's come over to the vegans, because really I don't see them as different. And I know they get offended that you say that. You guys are literally identical. There is no difference at all between a vegan and a carnivore. You've just chosen a different category of food to have a crazy cult built around. Okay, that's it. Yeah, exact same mindset. Because it's not about animals. Like it really isn't. You can tell. It is about creating a separate situation to where you see yourselves as part of a morally superior group to everyone else. That is the entire point of it. It absolutely is not about animal welfare. And you can tell because many of them are even self-admitted sociopaths. Okay? No, they hate people. So then they can take that out and pretend to love animals. But the fact is, it is about either having a narcissistic or a sociopathic set of personality traits to where they can differentiate themselves from everyone else as superior. Okay? So they can then look down on other people as inferior. And that really is what it is. And I'm not even saying there aren't cases where we should do this. I mean, to some extent, don't we do this in the fitness world? But we really don't. Because realistically, in the fitness world, we may get frustrated with people who choose an absurdly slothful lifestyle or whatever. But it's also a thing of, look, this is incompatible with the way that we live our whole lives. And we know that you would be better for it. But it's not necessarily a moral thing always. It's like, look, man, we'd love it if everyone else trained. You'd be happier and healthier for it. Okay? And most of us take that attitude. But whereas with them, it really is that moral superiority. But that whole, we need a word for everybody else. Carnist. Not even call them omnivores because really isn't that what the term? I mean, if we're going to call someone something, I mean, and it just be an actual real label, wouldn't they just call them omnivores? Yeah, they're omnivores. They eat plants and animals. I mean, that would be the correct nomenclature, but then that doesn't work. See, and the argument is, well, we need this so that we can have a derogatory, like almost a slur towards everybody else. Okay, but let's come over to understanding that is cult-like behavior. That is cult-like behavior. We need a slur for everyone else. Okay? Everyone who's not part of our group, our select, morally superior, pure group. We have to have a derogatory, when we need it to sound derogatory. It's important. It's like kind of like dropping the N-word, You got to have that little bit of spite. It's got to be just a little bit spiteful. There needs to be some history there. Right? And that's the same thing. This is what we are dealing with. It is them creating an in-group, out-group bias so that they can ostracize themselves. Because it's not about making the world better for them. It is about them having a sense of moral superiority. That's the whole point of the whole thing. Because we know it doesn't help animals, doesn't save animals. It's not healthy. Because realistically, if they were trying to minimize animal harm, what would they be doing? They would just be eating grass-fed beef. Why? Because then less crops are raised. Like grass-fed beef, for example, you're not having to harvest as much stuff as even the plants are, or the grains. You're not feeding them out on grains. You're eating cattle that graze in a field. And there's still going to always be death involved with that. That's part of it. There is no way for you to eat food without animals dying. I'm sorry, there's no way to do agriculture of any type without it happening. Their argument, well, these animals get fed all this stuff and that it creates more. Yeah, or you could just eat grass-fed beef. And then you would have a lower count. If that was really what it was about, but they don't. They'll never be morally or logically consistent because it's a crazy cult. It's not about that. It's about a sense of moral superiority. And again, the terminology reflects that. Okay? The terminology reflects that. That's why they need to, instead of just saying, yeah, people who are omnivores, right? No, they've got to make it Carnist. And it's a complete make-believe word that they have just made up. And you see it nonstop in their circles, like all over their pages and stuff. And what I mean is when you see it, if you follow fitness stuff, these things come through your feeds and social media, whether you want to see it or not. Unless you literally block those pages, you will eventually just come through. You're going to be forced to see it if you're on social media. I find that's the case because I don't follow a single vegan or carnivore page anywhere. Yet their stuff is in my feeds all the time, every day, 7 days a week. I see it. Okay? But again, they have this complete arrogance and haughty attitude. And, then they wonder why no one's interested in their bullshit. Well, I don't know, because you guys do nothing but lie and belittle other people, right? Tons of lies, tons of manipulation. They make up stuff as they go, provably false facts. They just make it up to fit their agenda. It's propaganda, right? Again, as a group, they're liars in general. And again, it's because it's not about actually helping or doing anything good. It's about feeling morally superior. That is the whole point of it. And I'll be more than happy to call them on it. More than happy to call them on it and not buy into their BS.